Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming. And before we start with our main talk, just quick announcement slash introduction. I will introduce quickly Outfit 7 Talent Camp, and this year is going to be a fifth iteration of it. And this year we went with the Game Jam format. It's going to be from 4th of July to 7th of July. And there's going to be a lot of mentors and also a lot of participants. And from personal experience, being 2 times participant in Talent Camp, I can really say that it's really a great experience. You learn a lot of coding-wise, art-wise. You also meet a lot of people, and there are a lot of also ex-participants here in our crowd, I see. So yeah, and this year it's going to be even more fun, more knowledge sharing and stuff like that. And I know that if I wouldn't attend one of these ones, I probably wouldn't be here because one of the mentors introduced me to this lovely community and really gave me a lot of introduction to this kind of scene. And the basic information I need to know is on this slide. It's going to be in Outfit 7 Fun Room. So if you have been to the Global Game Jam in January, you know where it is. And this date is really important, June of 10. It's the application deadline. And yeah, that's it. If you have any question how to apply or any other questions, you can ask now or come later after the talk and just talk to me. And now we'll go to our main speaker, Primož, who is senior game developer at Amadva and also indie developer at Emberheart Studio. And today he will share his story about his game and 8-year journey to make the release. So I'll just give him the word.
Hi. I was preparing the slides last night, so it will be a disaster most likely. I'm also not good with public speaking, but I'll do my best, okay? Has anyone seen the trailer so far for the game? No? Just you? Okay, I'll just play them. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Sorry. So yeah, I'm here to talk about my 8 years long journey. although I'll try to fit it in 15 minutes. I'll use the second 15 minutes to show the tools that I've used to develop the game. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Primož Vovk. I'm a programmer, my primary profession, but I'm also a pixel artist. And I'm full-time employed at Ahoy, but I'm also indie game developer, like Rock said before. And my drink of choice is coffee, always. So yeah, just quickly about my past experience. I was developing games since high school. Before that, I was making mods for various games. So this is from the last year that I was learning Blender and Unity for my future endeavors. And this is something from the companies I was working for. This is from Actalogic. And then this is from the MO2 I was working for, that I'm still working on. I was working on multiplayer for the Swampatek and on gameplay stuff for the Talking Tom Camp. Okay, but enough about me. So now, how did I get to the Courier of the Crypts and why? So this is the quote I really like that someone posted on Twitter just recently. And yeah, it all started out with the Ludum Dare event over the weekend in 2011 on April 28th. So it was like exactly 8 years just recently. And this is how the game looks today, but we'll start at the beginning. So this window is my first student apartment. It's where I was sharing the room with my friend. The fridge broke down, so we had this stuff on the window. Yeah, it's not pretty, but this is the window where the whole idea was born. Because I woke up at 3 in the morning for the Ludum Dare, and I was brainstorming while smoking and drinking coffee. And there was a moon outside, there were crows resting on those trees, and it was really a nice ambient. And I instantly got the idea that got in the game. So this was the theme for the Ludum Dare. And this is the design document I did in the same day. So as you can see, it's still, it applies to this game that it's available right now. There was a torch, there was this male courier, male boy, there was a torch bar, there were mummies, you could replenish flame and stuff like this. So the idea was born. And here is also a video from that day, from that weekend actually. Just turned off the sound, so. This is, back then it wasn't a regular practice to pick up engines, so I had to do everything by myself, like making levelator, collision detection in those 48 hours. So it was really an achievement, even though the result was really lame. But here you can see the progress from that day. These are the very humble beginnings of the game. Yeah, it's funny. So I'll just go on. After the Ludum Dare challenge, I stopped the development because I didn't think anything good about the game. It was okay, but it was nothing nice, really. But after a few months, there was this October challenge. I'm still not sure if it's a thing today. Does anyone know? But it was done by the Ludum Dare community. It was a challenge to earn at least $1 in 1 month from the games you are making. So I went through my backlog and picked up Courier of the Crypts and tried to make $1 out of it, actually. I changed graphics. As you can see, it's more similar to today's version, but this is from back there. Yeah. And when the October challenge ended, this was what I wrote down in one of my blog posts. So yeah, I failed, but I moved on with the game, and yeah, I went on. So the game went through many iterations, from really puzzle game where you had to collect the gold in order to finish the levels, to more action-oriented levels. As you can see, UI is changing, also levels, art. I really like this idea where keys are hanging down the flame torch, but it didn't get in. Also this is from the storyline part. where you had to visit the old hack to get this message to be delivered, but I cut these features. What I wanted to say is that I cut a lot of stuff from the game. Otherwise, I would be still making the game, and it would be released in 2030 or something like that, most likely. Here is another iteration with the inventory system where you could use stuff from your inventory. Actually, it's closer to RPGs. You could drink health potions and stuff like that. But then, actually, this is the final version. It's live today. I guess the biggest question here is, why did I use 8 years to produce this? Because it could be done sooner. So yeah, as you might know, I was using my own engine, and I started writing an engine without prior knowledge of how to write one. So it's a really stupid thing to do. If you ever wrote an engine, you know that's not how it goes. So I had to rewrite the whole engine like a few times, like 4 times maybe. I redid the whole art multiple times, and every time I did new stuff with the engine, I had to redo all the maps from the beginning. As you can see, here are some sketches for the levels, but these are from the earlier versions. What you see here, everything was scrapped and started from the beginning. So this is just part of it. This is one of the old covers for the game. It's pretty old. My brother did a line art with pencil, and I just turned it into a pixel art. Yeah. I was sharing this through the social media, so yeah, not the best thing to do. Here is another piece I did, but I don't know if we ever used it. It was for Zdravko, who did the sounds, to play with the sounds, but I'm still not sure what exactly is this, but I don't think we used this. Another interesting thing to show is this, how one scene changed over the years. Like on the left, you see this is the first iteration from the scene in the storyline, and on the right is the last scene. You can see how the level design changed, how the art changed, also the lighting, and in the last scene we also have a gravedigger there that plays a big role in the game later on. So there is a lot of work just in this single scene, so you can imagine how much work was done over the whole game. So I don't like to think about it. And here's another example. Do you know this scene? It was also in the trailer, I think. Those who played it know it's one of the first scenes. And here is how it started out, basically. From the concept to the art, in the bottom left corner is just a mock-up of tiles. It's not actual map. On the right one, bottom right, is almost finished scene, but this is the final one. Also, the big flamey guy is changed. A lot of changes here, actually. Here is another workflow, how I did some stuff. I saved work in progress a few years ago. I think it's cool to see this. It was really ugly at the start. I always do these ugly mock-ups at the start just to get the feeling of a scene, and then I do something out of it. Or at least I try. Okay, so yeah, this was like 3 years in the development. I was playing with gameplay, with all kinds of stuff, with UI design and all this. And then there was a moment that I would quit my daytime job, but not because of the game, but because I just needed some rest from everything. I moved back to my hometown. I needed the time for changes and stuff like that. So at the same time, I wanted to use this opportunity to launch a Kickstarter campaign, or actually Indiegogo campaign, and also Greenlight campaign for the Courier of the Crypts. And so I did. But it failed tremendously. So now when I look back, I know why. There are many reasons. If anyone would like to know why, you can ask me. But like I said before, it's really hard to put 8 years in this presentation, so I need to really go fast through everything. But yeah, it ended with 33% pledges. Thanks to everyone who pledged here, if anyone did. So And I started the campaign one day before the reboot Infogamer in Zagreb. I know I was sleeping like 30 minutes that night. It was crazy time, actually. Even when I was there, I was writing to press about, to write about the game that was on Indiegogo, and I was also pushing the Greenlight campaign that was active back then. But at least Greenlight campaign succeeded, so that's a good thing. And I also got a lot of exposure. As you can see, under the public mentions and awards, it was in indie games, covered it, French indie game magazine, and stuff like that, Alpha Beta Gamer. I also won a humble reward of 100 euros. But yeah. Also, the reboot Infogamer was a big milestone for me, not because of the event, but because this was the first time that people that didn't know me played the game. So it was a scary experience, but it was a really good one. For example, I knew I had to change this room. As you can see, the left room is from the build that was available at that time, and the right one is available right now. Do you know the solution to the puzzle? Someone who didn't play the game yet? No. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. The left one is old one, and people thought that you need to move the pillars. But there are also the buttons on the bottom that you can toggle them. You can toggle them on or off. So on the left side, there were too many informations. People were leaving the room, going through all the levels, trying to find the correct combination for the triggers. So I had to lock the players in the room. On the right side, you can see the doors closed. I locked them in the room so they can't go anywhere. And I also removed the pillars because they were giving the wrong information. And so actually the right combination is just this button and this button that these are showing, right? The flame. Is it really too hard? This is the first puzzle in the game, so I saw people quit the game at this point. So yeah, that was scary. So I redid this a few times. So just so you know, it's good to give your game to some people to play it, especially puzzles. Okay. So one of the craziest moments was also Mac porting. Yeah, when you have custom engine, nothing is simple. Really, it's nothing fun, really. So I was promising people the Mac build, and because of the promises I've made, I had to do it, right? Matejan, you may know him, gave me his old Mac, so I could port the game to it. And when I started, I was like pulling my hairs out. This was one of the hardest tasks I did in my whole life. It was learning Xcode. On the right, you can see a bunch of errors on the left side that I didn't know what are they about. And on the left side is the Courier running on the Mac for the first time. I was really, really, really happy. With the Mac build, there was a problem that even when I made builds, they didn't work on other systems. So I really didn't have any idea. Then I learned out that I'm trying to write into, how is it, APK? No, what is the Mac format? PNG? DMG, right, yeah. I don't know, it's something, but I couldn't write data in that file, so I had to find alternative solutions. Actually, it was on Steam. The broken build was on Steam for a few months, so it's nothing I'm proud of. And currently, the Mac version is not available because of many reasons. Thankfully, I had some help along the way. Like Matejan offered his help. Actually, I asked him for help to draw me character portraits for the game. I couldn't find my old one, but my old ones were really ugly, really, really. And so Matejan took this and made these wonderful portraits that are currently in the game. And this is the rebooting for Gamer from the last year. That was actually, for me, these were the last public tests for the final release. I got all the missing information I needed for the release, at least for the first few maps. But I still didn't have a clue about the game, if I did everything okay or not, because there were some people that were sitting at the computer for like 1 hour or 2 hours and almost finished all the content in the game. And then there were those that were running around the first level for 30 minutes. So I really didn't know what's happening there. But in general, I received positive feedback, and I tried to push all the changes before the release. Again, if you have a game, go to these events. They are wonderful. You will learn a lot of people and also learn how your game works. And this is before the release, actually. This is the finish line. It's okay, I was going without the sleep plenty of times just to push the game. I was studying, working full-time, and working on my game, and other stuff. It was okay, but before the last month of the game development, it was like really, really dark. It was hard for me to do anything. I still had to finish a boss fight. The last boss fight, I still have to do the credits and some final scenes in the game, next to bugs fixing. And that pile of bugs was just growing, growing, growing. And also, I had to do marketing 1 month before the release, but yeah, it was sad time. But somehow I've managed. But keep in mind that when I released the final version of the game, the final boss was like, only last phase of the boss was available because I forgot to remove the debug stuff. So yeah, some people finished the game the easy way. Yeah. So when you're a single person, a team that works on everything like that, it's really hard. It falls everything on you, basically. So it's always good to have people behind you that helps you out one way or another. Or at least try to predict stuff. And this is a lot of people who also worked single-handedly on the games, reported this kind of behavior before the release, and also various depressions and stuff like this after the finish line. And yeah, I agree with them, so there must be something about that. So here you can see a whole timeline of the development, actually. From the Ludum Dare on April 2011 to 2019, where it was the final release. As you can see, there is when my second job started at Amo 2. And back then I'm still living in my hometown, and I was driving to Ljubljana every day, so I've been on the road for like 3 hours every day, on summer days for 4 hours even. So I didn't have a lot of time to work on the game. But I did my best, and the game was out in the early access. I knew that I was taking money from people, but still I didn't produce any content, so it was a really stressful moment. This was the hardest moment, I guess, in the development. But somehow I did. 2017, you can see is that when I stopped producing new stuff because it was too stressful for me, and also I wanted a big pause so I can offer something fresh when I release the game. And thankfully, the changes were visible on the release. So here is a recap of good and bad stuff about the whole 8 years of development progress, because many people ask me how I feel about it, what did I get from it, and stuff like this. So yeah, I got plenty of experience, really a lot of experience from level design, game design, programming. I can't express how much stuff I've learned along the way. I've met a lot of people online, on Twitter, made cool connections with press, with other developers, with, I don't know, a lot of crazy guys and girls that do amazing stuff and are always ready to help me out. And I have my own published game on Steam that I'm really proud on, because I know I put my heart and soul into it, and I know it's not some quickly made game. And yeah, I also got a job at MO2 because of it. So this is really great. And the company also supported me on making the game, like in a sense, like motivation. I wasn't limited, like most companies do that limit you to the company. So I was really happy, and it really helped my well-being. So I didn't have to hide. I could openly write about my game everywhere. So yeah, that was really, really great. The bad thing then again are that I was working on it 8 years when I could be making like 3 games, 4 years at a time. Maybe, maybe not, most likely not. Bad thing is that I made my own custom engine, which doesn't allow me currently to port easily to different systems. A lot of people are asking me if the game will reach Switch, but I'm afraid I can't risk that because, yeah, it would be a hell of a job. I never took enough time for marketing preparations. So when you'll be doing any releases, any campaigns for Kickstarters, take a time for marketing. It's very important. But you know this. We all knew this, right? Then early access was not the best type of tactic for my game because it's story-driven. It's what I produce, the content I produce is not replayable that much. As you would say, like roguelikes or sandbox game like Minecraft and stuff like this. So there I failed because once you go out, even if it's just early access, you did the original push of your game marketing-wise. It's really hard to do a second push when the game is finally out. You really need to get creative and yeah, it's hard. Early access won't save your souls and yeah, people are getting skeptical to early access games because most of the games fail, are ever released. So there's that. So yeah, I had bad planning and I lived through some burnouts, which are also, no, they aren't cool. So yeah, burnouts are not good. So yeah, the game is currently out for 20% off on Steam, so get it if you didn't yet. If you want it, it's hard, it's difficult. You can refund it if you don't like it. So, or you can get it on torrents. I saw plenty of sites that offer torrents. It's okay. Sorry? Exactly. One game came to me on Discord channel that I also have for the game and said, hey, I played your game, I downloaded it through a torrent. Maybe I'll buy it, but I just wanted to ask something. It's okay, okay. You're a brave person. Sorry? I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. Maybe something about secrets. A lot of people are coming to me about secrets. He bought it later on, yeah. But not on Steam, because he hates Steam. So he bought it on Humble Store. So I just wanted to show you quickly here a few versions. This is, just run it. This is the Ludum Dare version you can't find anywhere on the internet because I removed it. And oh. It's full screen version. Okay, all right. So these are the humble beginnings of the game. This is the level selection screen. So cool. Too bad you can't hear the music. It's the best music I wrote in my life, and it's terrible. Can you hear it? It's some drums doing some, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's for the better. So this is the Courier. As you could see, the guy at the start is the same guy as you can meet in the game today. Also, the ending of this Ludum Dare competition is the same as today's version. So, yes, so here is the original idea of the Courier. This is our hero with a torch. As you can see, you can't use anything, you can't throw anything. Also, if you don't move, the flame bar goes off. Oh, you've heard the sound effect. So yeah, on Ludum Dare competition, as you might know, when you're working on the compo, you need to do everything by yourself, including sounds and music. So yeah, I did my best. Okay, I won't bore you with this one. It's really nothing interesting. All right. Here is the version from SloGameDev demo that we had, like, I don't know, 5 years ago. It was at that's Urban Roof. It's also terrible. I don't know why Zdravko joined the project back then. I'm still wondering. Yeah, so I'm not good at this game, especially not at this version. I'm just trying to, I died again, okay. It's much harder than today's version, even though some people say it's too difficult. Okay, for the last thing, I wanted to show you how I was working on the levels for the game. So actually show you the actual tool I was using to make levels. And please brace yourselves, because these tools are made for me only. No one can use them. As you can see, this is the level editor. There are no menus everywhere. Everything is binded to the shortcuts on the keyboard. So you need to be careful what you press, and it takes years of experience, if I may say. So, as you can see, I'm changing maps right now up there with N and M keys. For example, I'll show you first map of the game, first actual game level. So that's how the level looks like in the map editor. These are the collisions, wall collisions. These are many objects that you use to create cutscenes and various events in the game. That's what I wanted to show, but I will explain this later on when I'll be making a short level, because it's too much to explain right now. Maybe I will show you a bit more complicated scene, like the cathedral. You can see how many objects are there placed, and all of these are taken care to see the cutscenes, like where camera is moving, dialogues popping up, lights turning off, on. Well, yeah. But I'll explain all these later on a cool example. You can see here's a secret place if anyone wonders. There is a second one, but okay. So. Sorry? Library? Sorry? Oh, no assets. No assets. All tools were made by myself, so. Yeah. You know, the thing is, I forgot, it's American keyboard, and I don't find a shortcut for selecting toolset. You see? Sorry? Oh, no, you just need a Slovenian keyboard, and it's okay. But it's okay, so I'll just use this one, it's okay. Sorry? Yeah. So yeah, I always start out with basic layout of the levels. I mean, I could be talking about level design, game design, environment art, everything here. So I'll just talk about everything on the go and show you quickly. So yeah, it's painfully to make levels. You need to know this. But I would also need to have my own keyboard. If anyone has any questions along the way, just tell me. Ask. Oof, it's hard to say, because I had like 4 iterations of the engine. I had to start from scratch 4 times, because.
How long did it take you from the first iteration to when you set stuff?
I don't know, a few months, I guess, because I couldn't produce any cool maps with the old one. If you are a programmer, you will understand better, but this engine doesn't have any component entity system. A lot of stuff is hard-coded. So it's really hard to be creative with it, if I may say. It's C++ and SDL for cross-platform stuff. What a joke. No, but I know everything from it. So
So if you die, SQL died.
Of course. And for SQL, I will make another engine, that's for sure. No, I think it's enough. Although I enjoy writing engine, it's a real joy when you can run your own game with it and produce stuff with it. I still much enjoy better creating games than engine. So, yeah. Okay, what I wanted to show you is yeah, I always start out with the basic layout. I mean, I make a level layout on the paper and then I move it to the game. So this is, let's say, the basic layout, and then I go making details because details are playing a big role in my game. I also wanted to make all the places unique so you don't forget where you were before. So there are a lot of like visual milestones and stuff like that. Okay, it's really hard to make anything right now, but for example, I can place it. Oh, have you seen this number up here? It's the layer. So you can easily mess up the layers. Layers 0, 1, 2 are below the player, then 3, 4, 5, 6 are above the player. So many times I forgot to switch layers and I was placing everything above the player and I don't have the easy way to delete stuff. So I had to delete everything and start over. And I was happy. But you learn over the time to be careful about it. At the later stages, last year, I think I added the undo function. That works, kinda. So yeah, what I wanted to show you is actually these objects. These are the components for creating levels. Here you can see, yeah, it's too small, but here you can see pickups, enemies, and various objects. I'll just show you something. This is a player start right now. I'll place some lights around. Here, 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 okay. Now you see up here, these are the parameters for each object. You can have only 2 parameters, they're integers, they're numbers. They can be negative, only positive. And you need to know what each parameter do. Right now I don't know for everything, I had to look to the code for most of the time. But for example, if I put parameter 1 to 1, this light object will be disabled at start. Cool, right? Because I want to show you something. Now I'll make this lever here.
Is this completely separate from the game engine?
Yes, I mean it's using the same engine.
But you cannot do a preview.
You can, but you need to start the game. I will show you right here. I have the game. So I can place some. Usually I'm faster than that, but I don't have my keyboard here and it's really terrible. Okay, so. So actually this is what I've made so far. As you can see, this is the level.
You do realize
I can give it to you, but without documentation, if that's okay with you. I can give you the engine code. So, but as you can see, you can walk through the walls right now. There is nothing here. That's what I wanted to show you, how this is actually generated. I'll just place, you can see this is the solid collision that nothing can go through. Then this is just for the player, this is just for the enemies. This is collision that projectiles can cross, but you can't. So, yeah. But yeah, you can laugh all you want, but actually I could produce levels quite fast with this one. Because especially when you have 2 monitors attached, you can really quickly see the changes without waiting anything to recompile, to rebuild or something like that. So it's, but of course you can also create your own map editor in Unity, which, yeah, actually you need to reload. Yeah. What I wanted to show you is, okay, so now I can also toggle the lighting and see the lights that I place in action. For example, I'll place these gentle bluish lights at the ambient because let's say there are some cracks that spreads light. You can see some, yeah, it's not, the lighting is not the best. I see some light, but you don't, right? Do you see any light around? No. Okay. So I'll now place this yellowish light that I'll disable at the start. There is no light, and I will make it turn on by pressing the lever. Oh, it's this one. You see now the lights are opened, and you can, and that's how you produce maps. You can also place timers around that will wait, like the number. Parameter 1 is 1 is 100 milliseconds, 5 is 500 milliseconds. So I'll make this one that each 500 seconds one fire will turn on. This should work, I guess. And that's how we do maps, actually. I'll just place some particles here for dust particles. That also adds a lot. And maybe one pillar or two. Okay, I placed them on the wrong layer, so it's okay. And now I'll also place the spider that should spawn with the light, with the last light, I guess. Oh. Maybe this parameter is okay. And now the spider is spawned, and it drops sound when you destroy the body. I don't know why. So yeah, actually that's how you produce various scenes when you step somewhere something is triggered, like light or voice and stuff like that. This is a really basic example, but when it comes to big scenes, it becomes, as you saw before, it becomes really crazy, like this level. There are plenty of tiny stuff. This is actually the boss fight. Yeah, just that. So there is another thing I wanted to show you, but I forgot right now.
You have the sounds connected, actions connected to the assets. Can you change those? For instance, sounds
You can, but not from the editor. You need to hard code. Yeah. Except, I mean, you can place sounds in the level, but you can't change those that are attached to the entities, objects, stuff like that. This is a thing I wanted to show you, like this. For the sounds, I have these. I can play them in the map editor. Yeah, it's cool stuff, right? You don't hear anything, okay. No, it's not. Is it possible to make speakers louder? Да би дал директно. No, it's connected. It's only placed there, I think. No. Passekulno se. Bože. Yeah, actually, as you can see, this is the range of the 3D sounds. You can see where they will be heard. The red line is showing the area that player will hear this sound. So I had to get creative when it comes to reverse and stuff like this, because yeah, I need to make sure that players will hear the river all the time when walking near it. So it's stuff like that. Also, what I wanted to show you is it's the console. Although you all know the console, when you are making your own games, are you using consoles? Are you implementing consoles? No? Okay. I implemented one like 1 year ago. It was a bit too late, but it helped me out so much with the development and bug testing and testing in general because hey, it saves you time. Instead of going out to map editor, moving player around and stuff like that, moving items around, I can just use the console to actually try the game. I'll just load at like 7. And I can easily, for example, teleport to secret. Okay, secret place actually. And I've just found secret place. It's really useful like ghosts to walk through the walls or famous Doom cheat code to give you all the ammo and God mode and stuff like this. God mode? Yes, it's on. It should be. Yes, it's on. Oh, in the release version there is no console now. Yeah, it should be right. I can also... Sorry? You wish. So, just a moment. So yeah, also the level editor was changing over the years. At the start you couldn't do much. You can also only place triggers and doors, and you could set IDs like trigger opens door with ID 1. Then I had to change everything, so it allowed me to make this dynamic system. Because every object can activate another one. I mean, if this is the activator, for example, and I only program what happens when it activates. What happens when something activates spider, when something activates light, when something activates treasure chest, when something activates, I don't know, this switch, for example. So it becomes really dynamic, and every component I added much more options to the game.
How did you implement monolith dialogue?
Sorry?
Monolith dialogue. Are they implemented in editor or?
No, sadly not. It's good old text document. So yeah. I'm not really proud on it, but I mean, there are a lot of things I'm not proud on. But what can we do at this point, right? Yeah, but it would save me a lot of time. Oh, monologues. For example, like this. I can just, I'll just place, this is area trigger, just let me find it, okay? This is when you step in that area, something will be triggered. In this case, I'll trigger a dialogue, which is that. And I'll just set some dialog 5. I don't know which one is dialog 5 ID. I need to check the text document, but so that happens. And it's, I don't know what crystal, because it, yeah, also in the game I have this debug mode to turn off the lighting or to see this stuff like use sprite, sounds, particles. It's the collision. These are some funny stuff. I had some, yeah, because especially with sprite sorting, because I have plenty amount of sprites in the game, and I'll try to show you with because engine is not a good engine. It's terrible engine. It doesn't run any shaders. It's still using immediate mode of OpenGL. Indeed, it does. Sorry? Yeah. If you can imagine that. So I wanted to move on, but I never had energy. It worked like this, so I bothered. But yeah, now I see many problems with it. Anyway, This level has plenty of sprites, even though you can see every grass is single sprite, every tiny mushroom is single sprite here. So it's, I'm just trying, yeah, I can try to remove layers separately. Oh, okay, these are just objects here. These are just objects that, as you can see. Yeah, it scares the shit out of me currently. It was a matter of days, and I mean, I don't know in a matter of, the thing is, first you need to have a design of the workflow, what you want to achieve with the level, the whole story-wise, how it will evolve. Then you need to make environment art, and when you have environment, you need to place enemies, you need to place lighting, and all the special effects. And then there are iterations when you see that stuff don't work, it's too hard, it's hard, actually. Usually it was, when I was in early access, I was releasing like content updates, which were like 1 map to 2 every few months. So, but yeah, I was working, I didn't have much time, so it's hard to say. What I wanted to say, this is just terrain. And then, yeah, here you can see some graphical objects. This map was working quite slow, actually. In the debug mode especially, it works slow. But in the debug mode, I have a lot of stuff enabled, so. Okay, actually, this is taking a lot of time right now, right? So if you have any questions, just tell me. I'll try to explain, show you quickly.
Since you made a story-based game and you went in early access, you mentioned yourself that that was not a good idea because it's a story-based game. How did you go about changing the story? Did you ever run into any situation where somebody was complaining, well, I like the previous version of the story better?
Actually, the story didn't change through the time because, as I stated at the start, the Ludum, their version has the original story in. The beginning and the ending is there. So what I did along the way was adding tiny bits of stories. So that's it, actually. Just wanted to point out that all the main characters in the game doesn't have names. If you are playing the game, you might see it. There is an old guy, it's Guardian of the Crypts, it's Master Courier, it's Ghost. Those are the main characters in the game. While you can find reading scrolls from inhabitants of the Crypts that left them there, and they all have names. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I think it's interesting. So, any more questions?
So you said to do more proper marketing, right? To prepare thoroughly. So what would you estimate for a marketing campaign? How much resources to spend on it? How much time? How much money? For example, before you went to Reboot, so to say.
To go to Reboot?
Yeah, or some other marketing campaign to do.
I always try to spend zero budget on the game because I knew this game won't be a giant hit or something because I realized that from the start. But for the Reboot, actually, it's quite cheap, if you ask me. I mean, marketing, it depends what you put under the marketing.
You still need to print all the...
Yeah, you need to print out the flyers and stuff. I don't know, I never wrote this down, actually. But I think the most expensive stuff were finding an apartment there in Zagreb, I guess. But yeah, you have like the roll-up, it's quickly 100 euros, then you have flyers and business cards, it's 50 euros, 60 euros, it depends. If you want to have printed chocolates like with a wrapper, it's another 100 euros.
And how much time? Your time to prepare all that?
Oh, it takes time and nerves, yeah. And then you have produced the bad quality business cards and stuff like that. It's really, yeah, it's a nerve war, if I can say that. Did you also ask time-wise? Yeah. But yeah, okay. But it's good to prepare for the Reboot 1 month upfront. You need to prepare the build, correct build. Because on the first Reboot I had a lot of story in the build. It was boring for the players to watch the story. They didn't care about the story. They just wanted to see the game, what is it about. So,
maybe a comment. I was one of the visitors at Reboot.
Oh, really?
Last year, yeah. And my opinion, one of the games developers there are doing the marketing wrong because it was just a boring approach. I mean, some of them were just like, you come, you have to read a wall of text, and then you move on in 5 seconds to the next interesting thing, because there is a lot of flashy things at reboot, right?
Yeah, you can get really creative. I know not one single year I had anything fun to show, actually. I know how could I improve it, but I didn't have enough power to do it. I started preparing like 1 week before it, and it was like, of course, but yeah, it's like any other thinking in marketing. You need to be creative, and you can get a lot of people.
One more question, if you allow me. Okay. Another story. So you went for early access. You said it's not the best way for this kind of game, but why did you go for it in the first place? What were you expecting from the early access?
Good question. I wanted to say this before, but I forgot. Actually, that's when I was off from work. I quit my job, and I was 1 year, I took some time free, right? And I knew I would need to get a job in 1 year. So I said, why not trying early access and trying to live from that and while making new content? Yeah, so I had some savings. I didn't need money to survive. So, okay, with some income, I could keep producing the game. But yeah, then Namodu contacted me, and yeah.
Well, it's a valid decision, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. How many units have you sold so far?
I can't say, but there are a bit more than 1,000 players right now. So officially it's failure, but it's something. Yeah, but it's together with early access so far. So we are not talking in the last month, but so there are also the price is too high currently. It's like $90 or 16 euros. And people are complaining about this. They say it's a cool game, it looks great, they want to play it, but it's too expensive. So right now that I have 20% off on Steam, it shows the spike goes up, more people are buying it. So I'm wondering what would happen if I would drop it to like 10 euros or 9 euros. In early access, I made one mistake once. On Humble Store, I put a wrong discount. Instead of 10%, I put 90%. And I just got this mail with, it's been sold, been sold, been sold. I was just working and it was like, what's happening? What's happening? And I saw it was like selling for like $2. So then in 1 hour, like 100 people got the game. So that adds to this 1,000.
But that's great, because then the sold units in the early access just show. This might actually be a good tactics, because it showed that you had a lot of buy-ins, but then if you later increase the price, the people still saw, but 100 people bought it already, so it has to be something good. So maybe it invited many more buy-ins.
Well, I don't know, because I don't think Steam cares about those from Humble Store purchases and keys. I mean, from statistics, okay, but I can show like 100 people bought the game, yeah, in 1 hour. But how much is this worth? I don't know. Also, in early access, I don't believe many players returned after early access. So many people just experienced the first few levels. And it was really bad quality back then. I mean, bad quality, but it wasn't. Now that I look back at early access version, yeah, I shouldn't do it.
Yeah, what's next after you rest a bit?
For the game or in?
For you, for the
Secrets.
game and for?
Plenty of secrets. No, but currently I need to find some rest because I'm really exhausted from all this, especially, how can I say, emotionally, maybe. Yeah, but I need to take some rest. But of course I have some content updates for the game that I want to implement quickly, like hardcore mode and time runs, which helps with the replayability of the game. As for the project, I'll see. I have many prototypes I want to play out, try out, and stuff like this. So.
Thank you for the presentation, Primož.
You're welcome.
So, the pizza is here.
Whoa.
Just in time. So, Courier the Crypts, get it, 20% off. It's really good, I was told. Don't torrent it. And this basically concludes the official presentation part of today, and later on, it's pizza and video game presentations. Playing of games that were made during the Ludum Dare Game Jam. So thank you for your time. Enjoy and get a beer. It's good.
Hvala.